off and stay in our own place. Thank you very much. Once again, I welcome you all to Barrow. And on behalf of the Ghana Democratic Party and also the party leader and Secretary General, I want to welcome you all to this important festival. We are grateful for your presence here today at the Barrow, and we commend you for your continued dedication to informing the public and upholding the principles of transparency and accountability in our democracy. This afternoon, our party leader, His Excellency Darboe, will address a matter of great national significance. As a party committed to democratic governance, constitutionalism, and the rule of law, the Ghana Democratic Party believes that the Gambian people deserve full clarity on the developments surrounding all our developments and its implications to the country's future. On that note, I'd like to say once more that you're welcome, and we will pick up this press conference or press briefing once our party leader is here.
Thank you very much, Mr. Press. And let me apologize because I have thought that the Honorable Minority Leader and the Honorable Member of the Assembly were still in the National Assembly, so I was waiting for them, not knowing that they were here. Because this occasion is one that calls for their presence. They were among the principal actors in the National Assembly yesterday. So my apologies for coming late. But gentlemen of the press, and indeed through you, I come before all Gambians, and this should not be a surprise. This moment is not just about the failure of a bill in our National Assembly. It is about something far deeper, a troubled pattern of failed leadership and betrayed public promises. I speak to you not as the leader of a political party, but as a fellow citizen, one who, like you, has witnessed our nation's long, painful journey towards justice, accountability, and democracy. The 2024 Constitutional Republic of Gambia Promulgation Bill, introduced by President Barrow, has officially failed in Parliament. But this is not the first time that our nation's hope for constitutional reform has been crossed under this administration. Let us remember clearly, in 2020, the Gambian people were presented with the most inclusive, transparent, and consultative constitutional process in our history. The CRC went to every corner of this country to listen to you, the people. That draft was born from your voices, your stories, your struggles. It was a people's draft, written not in isolation, but in collaboration with the citizens, experts, and civil society. Yet, it was President Barrow and his government who both openly and behind the scenes led the campaign to sabotage that people-centered draft. They withdrew their support. They lobbied against it. And when the time came, their allies in Parliament killed it. The UDP and their progressive voice and other progressive voices stood in full support of the 2020 CRC draft, but we were derailed by those who pledge loyalty to a man above duty by nation. Let us be honest, those who now champion President Barrow's 2024 draft constitution showed no such urgency when the real people that was before us. But they fought them with the same intensity they fight with now. The CRC draft might have become our constitution. But they didn't, and we must ask ourselves why now? Why this draft? The answer is clear. This is not about the people, it is about power. Now, 4 years later, the same administration that destroyed the people's draft returned with a new document drafted behind closed doors without public consultation and designed to serve one man's political interest, not the national interest. And when this bill reached Parliament, it was the opposition parties who stood firm, who said no to exclusion, no to manipulation, and no to self-serving government. We did not reject reform. We rejected a process that bypassed the people and undermined our democracy. Let us call this what it is: betrayal repeated. First, they rejected the constitution written by the people. Then, they tried to impose one written for themselves. Time and time, the National Assembly members under the NDP and their allies have proven themselves unreliable. They make promises they do not keep. They shake hands in public only to break trust in private. Their loyalty is not to the nation, but to political survival. No negotiation can survive beyond the summer meeting, not when it rests on their word. Let us now forget that it was the UDP that tabled a bill to repeal. Let us not forget that it was the UDP that tabled a bill to repeal the repressive Public Order Act as a colonial credit used for decades to silence dissent and criminalize assembly. It was the NPP, NAS, and their allies who rejected it. That moment they could abundantly declare that we stand for liberty and they stand in this way. The failure of the 2024 Constitutional Promulgation Bill is not merely a legislative defeat for President Barrow. It is a national indictment of his hypocrisy, his broken promises, and his disregard for democratic values. To those who argue that a flawed 2024 Barrow draft is better to remain stuck with the Jamaican era 2097 Constitution, I understand the temptation to settle for what seems like the lesser of the evils. That may be political expedient, but it is not right. A constitution is the most important legal and moral compass of a nation. It defines who we are and what we aspire to become as a nation in the community of nations. We cannot accept a process where a president unilaterally discards a draft that reflected the collective will of the Gambian people, only to replace it with a document crafted behind closed doors by himself and his allies. The United Democratic Party remains unwavering in its conviction that constitutional reform must be people-led, transparent, and inclusive. No shortcuts, no simple drafting, no manipulations. We have not forgotten the price paid to arrive at this juncture. Many have sacrificed. Some, like Solo Sunday, gave their lives so we could dream of a new Gambia. a Gambia built on justice, rule of law, and dignity for everyone. Some, like Kanye, have been disappeared so that we can have a Gambia that whose citizens live in dignity. This is the Gambia that the United Democratic Party has always wanted. And this is the Gambia for which these people have sacrificed their lives. The Gambia that we all aspire to starts with the solid grounding in a constitution that reflects the aspirations of the people. A sort of constitution one can only be attained through widespread consultations with those who matter in the who matter most. We the people. The Barrow draft neglected that most basic, but fundamental first stage, and for that we stand opposed in his desire to impose his will on the people. We did not fight for change, just to watch it hijacked by those who now seek to enter themselves in power. Let us be clear. President Barrow and his administration to lead the Gambia in the new constitutional era is quite accurate. This second attempt was not a correction, it was a confirmation of his intent to write our future in this opinion without our voice and without our consent. The Gambians deserve better. We must now return to the path we abandoned in 2020, the path of participating democracy, genuine national dialogue, and constitutional legitimacy. The UDP stands ready to work with all democratic forces to revive the CRC draft with the necessary updates where needed at the level of the National Assembly. Yes, always grounded in the consultation and the consensus. To the Gambian people, we say this is not the end, this is a new beginning. Let us rise, not in despair, but with renewed determination. Let us reclaim the reform agenda. Let us defend our democracy. And let us work together to build a constitution that reflects our shared goals, our deepest values, and the future of our children deserves. I want to thank you for your kind attention and give the statement that the United Democratic Party wishes to make on the design failure of the draft constitution, a failure that was designed by President Barrow, because we knew all along that bringing another document to the National Assembly for discussion without really proper consultation, they knew that would fail. If the draft, 2020 draft, had been brought to the National Assembly, it would have gone to a third reading, and when it goes to a third reading, they would have got the required constitutional votes to make to subject to a referendum. But because he didn't want a constitution, he can go draft one privately with his cabinet and think that they can impose that on the Gambian people. UDP resists any imposition on the people of the Gambia. UDP believe that any law, particularly constitution, the most basic and fundamental law, cannot be an imposition on the people. It might be one that comes from the free will of the Gambian people. And we say that the Gambian people's constitution is what resonates with us, and that is what we have always stood for, and we will continue to stand for that. For several years since 1996, we have given our lives, we have given our assets, our properties, everything we have done so that this country gets a constitution that the Gambian people deserve. we cannot allow President Barrow and his APRC allies to impose on the Gambian people a constitution that we do not deserve. And I want to say that the United Democratic Party does not feel apologetic about the vote that we received yesterday. It was one that is expected. And if anything happened other than that, we will feel that our National Assembly members have indeed betrayed the Gambian people. Honorable Leader, Chief Whip, I want to congratulate all of you, as well as the Road Alliance and the Honorable Member of the Gambian for really standing with the Gambian people, for really supporting the Gambian People's Project and rejecting Barrow's personal project. And of course the Honorable and the Honorable Member for Barrow, who has always been a very prominent advocate for good constitution for this country, who has always been a prominent advocate of whittling executive powers and entrusting the people's representative with the necessary mandate to make sure that their oversight functions are performed properly and effectively. And the tool to do so is a constitution which really vests out and to effectively oversee the executive and all other institutions whose activities are subjected to their oversight function. I thank you and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Secretary General. I just want to take a few questions and ask the journalists to introduce themselves, the media house they represent, and state their questions. But we will also appeal that the questions are based on the issues of the Constitution and the position of the party, and let us keep it within those confines and limits. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Darboe from Barrow. Honorable, thank you for the invitation. My question is, considering the economy of the country, my question is, considering the hardship that Gambians are faced with, we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars being wasted within 5 years for oversight of democracy that the coalition government in 2017. Now we are approaching the 2026 presidential election in autumn this year, which means that as it stands, we are proceeding with the 1997 Constitution, which means a single majority, even what more difference can make the incumbent the president again. What is UDP going to do to ensure that NC will agree with this government moving forward with an effective force that is going to change the government come 2026? And also, what is your stand on people saying that the parliament should have allowed the bill to pass so that it can be given a chance for the public to have their say?
Your first question, let me preface it with that, and in fact that will lead to the answer for the second question. I'm sure if you follow the deliberations in the National Assembly, you will not have missed the intervention of the Honorable Member from the East. He did say that the coalition government, or the coalition then, were really their campaign agenda a new constitution, and that the age limit should be removed. So you have said that. And that was the campaign promises that was taken to the government. Elect us as God leaders of government. elect President Barrow as the president of this country, and this 1997 constitution, we will do away with it. That was the first promise. That has not been. So that is very alternative. Very promise. What we do so that I think it's a question for government. Are you willing to be guided by the 1997 Constitution? Are you willing to continue living under a government that is corrupt? Are you willing to continue living under a government that is insensitive to your problems? Are you willing to live on a government that just gives false promises and does not really fulfill them? It is for you, Gambian. And we have to really work together. Forget about the personalities of any political leader and focus on the things that matter to us. And what matters is a government that really keeps its promises. A leader that keeps the promises. A leader that is willing to fight corruption. A leader that is prepared to bring in a lean government. You don't want too big government. And you do not want to have a president that is too powerful. After all, we are complaining about the 1997 constitution because too much power existed in the executive. And this is what Barrow wants in his 2024 draft. And we are saying in 2020 draft, no, the executive must be brainwashed. You can exercise executive power, but there should be limitations. And the trend now is really to have executive control. They complain that yes, they don't even want to give the president the power to dismiss or to remove from office Inspector General of Police. Yes, it is very important because police, we have seen here how the security forces have been used in suppressing political opponents in this country. Even currently they agree. They pick you up on a Friday and then they spend Saturday, spend Sunday. They say that you cannot have access to the courts. So we cannot take you before the court within 72 hours. And they continue doing that. And you want to also retain such a government? Because the Inspector General of Police position, is so critical in our African politics. So he wants to give him absolute immunity, absolute protection. We want to ensure that his office is independent. He can take decisions that are not informed by political considerations. But they are saying no, he shouldn't do. We want to appoint a minister. And he said it cannot be, the National Assembly should not really investigate that person whether he is fit to be appointed as a minister. I mean, that is unthinkable in modern democracies. Please go to Ghana, go to Nigeria. That's why I think Nigeria takes about 6 months before the cabinet is formed, because the ministers are subjected to National Assembly, to Senate scrutiny. In Ghana, they are subjected to National Assembly scrutiny. So that you don't bring in, a drug dealer to have him as your Minister of Interior, under whom the Drug Law Enforcement Agency is placed. You want to put competent people there. You don't want to really take a lawyer and make him Minister of Health. Because you have to question the competence of the person in that ministry. So what can be done, because there is this simple majority, is that all of us must get together, we must come together and vote out this government. That is the answer. And this is what we are appealing to all of you. I'm appealing to all of you to give your vote to the Democratic candidate that will be nominated for the 2026 presidential election. And we have the pedigree. We have shown the whole world who we are and what we are. Since 1996, we have not retreated. We have been always pushing forward to push up the national agenda. That's what we have always been doing. There is nobody in this country who doubts the United Democratic stand on all the major issues, on corruption, on excessive use of executive powers, on parliamentary dormancy. You have our president having made clear on all these things. So it will be left for you Gambian people now to decide that, look, yes, the United Democratic Party has been control for quite a long time. We will have a negotiation of rejecting them again. Now, the second question, progress to the National Assembly, of course. That is what the people are saying. But why did they say in 2020 that Barrow and his people should have allowed that constitution to proceed to the constitutional state and ultimately to the people? They are not asking that question. Why are they asking for it now? Why now? Why not then? If we are seriously concerned, and we all agree that that 2020 draft is a people-centered constitution. That is the constitution that reflects the aspirations of the Gambian people. Consultations between the Gambia and outside the Gambia was carried out. If Barrow wanted a constitution, he would have told his people, please, let it pass. In September of 2020, when I made the nations, the state of the nation, he would have addressed National Assembly members and appealed to all of them and said, please, this draft is coming before you. I asked every member of this assembly to vote for it. On the day the bill was introduced, I went on radio to ask all members of the National Assembly to vote for it. If Barrow had done the same thing, it would have gone for the second would have passed, go to consideration stage, and today we would have had that constitution. Today we would have been a republic. So those who are saying that, why did they do that? Why did they not do that? Now is the time that those observations can be made. And even if this is the current situation, when that draft was rejected, those who really wanted to have a good constitution, I think the concerted effort should be to bring pressure on President Barrow and his people to bring back the 2020 draft. That is what all those who are genuinely concerned, who genuinely want to have a good constitution for the Gambia, that should have been their approach. That should have been their efforts. And not to say, I have great respect for all of them, but I think the pressure and the approaches that were made to me and my party for the 2024 draft, if the same approaches we are going to Barrow to bring back the 2020 draft, it would have succeeded. Because all of us would have been together. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes.
Thank you very much. We'll take a question from the journalists if anybody wants to ask a question. Just a reminder that we keep the questions in the confines of the discussion and what is here.
The actual question I have. Yeah.
Just a quick one. So many Gambians believe that the 2024 draft is a replica of the 1997 Constitution, which vested so much power on the executive. Are you not concerned as an opposition that we are going to the election using the Constitution that vested so much powers in the incumbent, and we know how campaigns are being run this country as well? What will you understand? And the third thing is that, assuming that the United Democratic Party is the winner of the 2026 presidential election, what is going to be your key priority areas to ensure that you restore what you call endemic corruption in the system?
What is the replica of the 1997 Constitution?
As many people believe that the 2024 draft
2024
is a replica of the 1997. I will concern as an opposition that we are going into election using the same constitution that people have been crying over for decades.
Well, we have been going to elections in Fatima since 1996. We have been operating under that constitution. And certainly, we have made the best use of it. And where one feels that provisions of that constitution have been applied in a way that are detrimental to your interest, and then certainly, you, not a democratic one, of course, whenever we feel that government is doing anything under that constitution or under any law that does not hold here with the national interest, we always go to court. And that is what we will continue to do. And indeed, when we come in, there are a lot of things to be done. But one of the most important agenda will be the constitutional reform. We will have the constitution brought back to the National Assembly with, and I tell you this, with the retroactive clause in it. We'll have it, we'll leave it there, and we'll urge members of the National Assembly to vote for it, so that the incumbent president then, because we say UDP government, the incumbent president then, his term begins with that year, so that he doesn't go for another 2 terms. That is the promise we give to the government. We want to have that retroactive clause, we'll have it there, to show that we are not interested in clicking the power, that we are not self-perpetuating personalities. Or that the president who is elected at the time and who is present at the date of the coming to force of the Constitution will show to the whole world that I am not a president who is self-perpetuating. This time that you have elected me from 2026 to 2031, I accept that as my first term. Even though we are going to a third republic. And the other term will be my second term. So that what they are running away from, United Democratic Party will be oppressed.
On corruption, what measures are you going to put in place?
You know, UDP has never condoned corruption. We have always spoken against corruption. And certainly, the laws on corruption will not only be effective, but they will be implemented. There may be a review of the Anti-Corruption Act. Certainly, there may be a review of the Anti-Corruption Act, so that to make the law effective and also to have it implemented. We will not pass a law to deal with certain situations and then not provide mechanisms that will make the implementation of that law easy and effective. Since the anti-corruption bill was assented to on the 31st of November 2024, we still do not know the full list of the commissioners. We still don't know. And this is July 2025. 31st January 2024. So this is not a government that is serious about corruption. And we are serious about this about corruption. We have always fought against it. In 1996, at Fizara Street, I stood there and exposed the corruption of the APRC government. Then the AFPRC government, which has now transformed itself to APRC. I did it. When they swindled our funds, put it in banks in Switzerland, I spoke against it. Nobody else did that in this country. I did it. And I've got documents from the courts in UK. Got affidavits from people in Senegal. And that shows how much we are concerned about corruption in this country. And our drive to fight corruption has not been. If anything, is much stronger today than yesterday.
Thank you.
very much. We'll take one last final question and close the meeting.
Bagai kemakaran official ini negara mundial kono. Akan mereka itu di 2024 dah yang berlaku dari. Soalnya begitu benar start damen itu mau kata kese mau ani kini itu kata kese kan sabah ani itu. Ini tu memang kemo kalau orang lagi dulu sudah ini. Bari ini tu fokannya sudah UDP ini, fasulnya Gambia ini. Bermula tentang ansai UDP belori ini. 1997 constitution, am kole akole di UDP ke 1997 karena kasih kata apa. Muna tentang ansai imang o sacrifice mo. Bari ini lomo kaje ko 1997 constitution ay dani.
1997 constitution, amake constitution me yaro kama ko nata mandora bi jeda yimi bi dama dama ni mo pan ko be da problem ado gunu na dipto ye menke dipto ye lokka men da ye de mata yimi ya ta ba ko duwa me yaro ka wala nyanga banko na fara wakati adale banku dun kewon kabri koy na bokkaat kabri para ko bafus si alsi mo ke kanne ye yininga ye poti ye kay ko ki e kam me ko isusu ye ki pour banko ni nyanda luwasi famel be na jabe daga bandala dunia Gambia bandala idi am ta Gambia jule ji be yela haklodi wala kaftanyo si arsia safe yapo ye même ko bonni ya ji mona moni ya jinde e ko ha ali nga jampani ali nga ni kampo wakata amrude kan mon ko men nyanta kala yogi ina nana bonni final draft Gambia bonni ada mamarona la mon to wata kala ite lafta me yeke wonomu membe sembo dila president la sembe ba wa sembe ba nak Gambia dil ko hani malan wala ko president la nyanta sembo son la ni bana manka ne na kala sembo me la ka mo ita manam ko mo le yeke ko yeke dula woto ni e tombo yeke bilano woto imanya na kelebulu fambo ni kamurang e fanga do sunna no e ba mo be di bana be jaade ya e ba mo de la pala e be sila drum ya mula ya wala jaade ne na ko pala kal ko ni be mo kala pala so do ini mo sa kachan isi mo sa wala ni kamo sauranya kudo kama ka kamu kata me fale wala ko di me benkela do ma ko wala kala ko do asauranya da do na ya ta banda bari même je me yalo kamo ko ninga yamu ndaw ya ba dimba kala pada so do a dibte bulo nyata nga sama dibte wala ko sama dibte bulo yala ko do adu dibal fananu e nyanta jalal kamo ko 60% wala kameo kemo tawo wala kwa amburuta kawo ko president bana simbo ta mala barbido ani dicto no ta kata e ko kuna mamai honorable to janabi abo ako dicto ni president la kadwa dada ita la kaden kadwa dada ba wala be ya what fun ko fam wala kai the government enacted by the president and the national assembly so ni ni lawyer to dicto kalo kasi kadwa dada muna yatin na panas do pe yalon ka ko iko ni be yamu daw yamu kala je ini ndi pro nyata ka ka jali be dato muna nyando bay na bet ni bare barola draft ane bu kasan ka ko barola bari ni ma ada barola draft won ka daw da jari kana daw da jaro tonyen Dawda Jallow mo ako kontem lawyer do na da yebula do wala no nage ikana Dawda Jallow ko ni Barrow le la draft ni mel ya da Barrow ni ayole ko ko yoke kasebe katambata kadia ya hali state of emergency nadia da ya declare iko isita ki yola nada yese ya declare sinya sabanya ta ki yola ko ko yes ya kuma jaje kito ke janto amandia iko wakiti sifa mtaja weke jibango kan koteke ko ni president mo men tombo ayaka ni piosi asabo ni node bae ko ni dipte bango si ila dipte ko bondi node ko do president fana nyande ni bondi one separation of power boy fan yo le negate kamu ko executive ni national assembly kamu ko executive function separate wala in fact na nominated membership fan wala fan nyata bu kan be men nominate e mari men diade akole akole wodo niaje ni 20 draft ni abijabta Gambia ko la wala Gambia ko la duwaji la menna adu Gambia ko le ko UDP ko dan mantra ma ko ke na ba jini kan ni me mala na ba jini kan wala ko ke na bay ko 1997 draft wala bijani kabri 1997 draft bijani adu 1997 draft ba do ko digal ni ko kala de be man do nyaabo delu de UDP dina ka dal manyabo kata ki do anda ta manganya do ni namen sama ki do akepe ko ko ni be sina akepe ko kaita de kam ko ni de mama manya na kala ni do manya na ko ko ka so bebe gajala da wala ni 1997 constitution ni lole be jumada for 2026 abe membe na tema amanga karwa kare ni election ni kartani wor o kartani wor na kono adel gambe ko adel mel lamta alla kama ilo ni banko ade ala kanto ni judi bila kanide ko ay duwa na tiane be nyano ko gambe ko na to so na jago ko
conversation around our supposed constitution, and we say every time